Alright, so now we're going to look at converting it using Midi to huge and then the post-conversion steps as well. So here's my release of Midi to huge. This would be what you downloaded and opened up. I've copied my Boss M2 Midi that we cleaned up over here. Now before I convert it, I'm going to open this mapping template and make sure that it's set up as I expected. I ordered my tracks in the Midi, if you remember, in the order they would be for actual channels, so I can leave all this alone. Source instrument, target instrument here is up to you. You can set it to whatever you want. I like to make sure that the duty instruments don't get assigned the same one, so I'm just going to make this like a random instrument number. I'll make it number 2. So hopefully that will lead to not having the same instrument be used for everything, which makes the post-conversion steps just a little easier. So that's ready. Now all we really got to do is take this Midi and drag it over the mapping convert one, which will use what's in this mapping template to make the huge file for us. If you're in Linux or a Mac, you can do that by using the command line tools that are in the manual. I'm actually glad this popped up. If you get this alert, you can hit more info and run it anyway. It's just Windows trying to protect you. Midi to huge ran fairly quickly, and now we have our huge file. Let's open up Huge Tracker. And go to our file. There it is. Our song has been brought in to Huge Tracker. And that doesn't mean it's perfect though. As you hear right now, we're going to see it still needs some cleanup. So I'm going to play it. Ouch. So first of all, it's way too fast. I'm going to try tempo 7. So by clicking on this F here, you can open this up and change the tempo. Or you can just type in the number there if you know. Let's see how it sounds at 7. Much better. So that worked out good. So alright, we're making some good progress here. Now we might want to do some design on our notes and things like that. Let's again, like we did before, take one channel at a time. Duty 1 channel. I'm actually pretty happy with that, so we're going to leave that one alone. It looks like it used this instrument called solo, which doesn't have too much going on. But let's say that we wanted to make it a little more punchy, for example. Maybe we want it to be a little louder. I can take the volume up a little and change this to cut off quicker with the change of the direction of the envelope. Let's see how that sounds. That works for me. We're going to leave that like it is. Now let's look at Duty 2. That sounds pretty good as well. We're going to see this is instrument 2, so I'm going to click on 2 over here. Let's say I wanted to make this sound more kind of like strings though, since they play fast. I want it to kind of come up in volume like this. So I'm going to change this instrument to be like this. And then we can play those two together. That sounds pretty good. Let's say though that I decide I don't like the octaves of these. I want to change them. Now you don't have to do this, but I wanted to show how to do it. And we'll see in a minute where you do need to do it for something else too. There's 2 ways I can do that. First of all, let's say that I wanted to make this the higher part, or this a lower part and this a higher part. So I can highlight all of these and then right click and pick transpose octave -1 or press Shift Control A. So now I've done that. So, but there's another way. I want to show you both ways, so I'm going to put that back. The first way is the better way to do it because these notes, if you copy them somewhere else, they'll work the same. But if you have a huge song and going through all the patterns doing that feels like too much, there is a shortcut. I can open my instrument, turn on the sub pattern, and then over here by selecting the right octave, you'll see different numbers appear. So I click the octave. I'm pressing A, which is the C button, until I see the -12, which means go down an octave. I'm going to fill that in, and then you have to put this special character by going to this third column and typing a number. I'm going to type 0. Actually, I'm going to type 1 right here. So what this says is when this note starts to play, take it down an entire octave. When you reach this, jump back to number 1, so it loops. So now, if we hear this, we'll see that it worked as expected. The octave has been changed, but we didn't actually have to go through and change all these notes. Now, that can be a good thing or a bad thing because if you copy these somewhere else, they're going to sound different unless you also copy the instrument. If you copy it to wave, for example. Also, it's just confusing if someone comes to read this that what notes are listed here aren't actually what plays. So I'm going to undo that, but I wanted to show you how to do that. So the duty channels sound pretty good. Now let's look at what's going on in the wave channel. So sounds okay. This one, it looks like it also used this instrument called solo. But let's say I want to change that up. For one thing, we might notice that the octave is probably an octave higher than it should be. There's no C4s, anything below C4. If we took this down an octave, that would get messed up. So we're going to do it the right way. We're going to highlight these and use transpose -1 octave. We're going to do that in each. You have to click over here on each grid to select them and go down an octave. Now let's take a listen to that. That sounds quite a bit better. I can click on the wave instrument over here and try different waves too. It just kind of randomly picked that one, so I'm going to try like a more basic wave, like a sine wave, see how that sounds. Yeah, it's a little bit more beefy, I like that. So let's listen to it without noise. It's pretty good, but the wave gets a little bit lost, so I'm going to do a little bit of stuff to make it a little more jagged, give it a little more character. Let's see how that sounds. I just went to Waves tab and redrew my wave a bit. I'm happier with that. It gives it a little more crunch. Alright, so again, the worst part. And this is a good example of one of the things that's not great about Midi to Huge that I'll probably fix. You'll notice that the converter just decided to make everything be 8 for some reason. It does that sometimes. I made this tutorial to show you anything that might happen, and that's one of the things that happens. So now we need to remake that. So if you remember, our pattern goes hi-hat, snare, hi-hat, snare. So we're going to do that pattern ourselves now. Go to our noise instruments, and I got the hi-hat. And by changing this octave, I can put down notes. I can also do it like this, right click and either transpose octave or transpose semitone. Using Control A is the best way to do it because you can do it quickly without having to keep clicking on the mouse. So let's see if we can get it how we want it to sound. I'm going to use Control A to go down a couple times here. And I'm going to just mute that so we just hear the one channel. Take it down quite a bit. There's a pretty good hi-hat sound. Now for the snare though, we need to change the instrument. So that one we'll have to use. You could change the number here if you want to 3. Or you can just type using your keyboard and find one that works. There we go. So again, as I said, it's often easier to do some stuff like copying and pasting as the manual explains. So now that I have my instruments, instead of redoing what I just did all down here, I'm just going to kind of copy these where they need to be. Oops, I guess I cut instead of copied. There's our pattern. And again, you can copy paste just like you copy and paste text. Control C, Command C, and Control V. So I have basically what I need here. In real life, I would spend way more time on this part of it. But this is good for now. So I'm going to copy this and just paste this pattern every 16 bars. And then that sounds good. Now I could repeat all that for this second row and third row, because they still have the messed up ones. But another option, and again I'm keeping it simple, I would definitely put more work into this for a real song, but I can change by clicking over here. Click on this, the 7, and press 3. I can change it to basically reuse that pattern that I made. Alright, so Moment of Truth, let's hear it all together. So that's basically it. Our song has been successfully converted. It sounds pretty good. The nice thing is you can always keep tweaking this. You can save a version of it off and then make some changes and try different things to see what works best. But that's basically how it works. So thanks for using the tool and thanks for watching.